Here it is.
It turned off.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and assembled company, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe, and it is Friday. So, therefore, we have stories for children. Children of all ages, children with long white beards, children with no hair whatsoever, children who have yet to grow hair, and all steps in between. And tonight's teller, or this afternoon's teller, or this morning's teller, depending on where you are in this big wide world, is Jill Olesker. Now, Jill, tell us where you are in this big wide world at the moment.
I am in Saugerties, New York, by the Esopus Creek and the Hudson River.
Well, so we're in New York at the moment. Is that New York State?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, I mean everything's in a bit of a state, but that's fine. There's um, well, welcome and
Thank
uh, and tell us your first story.
So I want to start the story. When I was at the wonderful World Storytelling Experience that happened in Marrakesh, thank you, John Rowe and company, for helping make it happen. There was plenty of time to wander in between hearing tellers and working in the schools. And one of my wanderings, I saw a drum that I knew I needed to have. And this is it. It's got schools of fish on it because I tell many collect water stories and memories of water from different people. It's made by a gentleman named Elias. And I thought that I would use this drum today to begin the storytelling. So, a story is story. Let it come, let it go. And if you are ready to hear the story, you can also say a story is story, let it come, let it go. Here we go. A story is story. Let it come, let it go.
Let it come, let it go.
So today I'd like to share with you nature stories where nature shared surprises with us. Because I find that when you're in nature, you never know when a surprise will appear. And I'm going to start with a morning story and take us through the day, then an afternoon story, and then a nighttime story, and maybe ask you to share some stories with me, some memories. So here's the first story. A long time ago, in a place in Africa, I do not know exactly where, but in this place, there was a terrible drought. Everything stopped growing, the rivers dried up. And at this time, it was so long ago that the animals could speak, not just in their own languages, but in a language where they understood each other. So they decided to have a meeting. The first to speak up at the meeting was Elephant. She usually had a lot to say. She said, I'm so thirsty, and I can't even fill my trunk with water. I haven't had a bath in weeks. The next to speak up was Giraffe. There's no leaves at all for me to reach up and eat. And one by one, each of the animals spoke up and told how they were missing water. Now, the only animal that was not at the meeting was Lion, king of the jungle, because Lion during the day was taking a nap, which he was wont to do. And all the animals started saying, what can we do? How can we solve this problem? Until a tiny turtle got into the middle of their meeting circle. And she spoke up and said, excuse me, but grandmother told me that there is an amazing tree. And if we can find that tree and know the name of the tree, there will be fruits of all colors growing on it, no matter what the weather, and we shall all have something to eat. Now the animals had no idea where this tree might be, and they asked the little turtle, "Where is it? Where is it?" And the turtle said, "I don't know. My grandmother did not tell me that." So now they didn't know how to find out where the tree was. And finally, Panther spoke up and said, "I bet the lion will know. He knows just about everything." And then Panther said, "I will go find the lion because I am the fastest animal that any of us know, and I will be back quickly." And without even asking any of the other animals what they thought, zoom, Panther was off. He ran and ran until he found where Lion was sleeping. He went right up to Lion and said, "Lion, Lion, get up, get up." And Lion woke up. He said, What? "Lion, we need to know where to find the tree that has the fruits that always grow, and what is the name of the tree?" Lion said, "I'm going to tell you, but only once, and then I want my nap. The tree is in the very middle of the jungle. Follow the way out from where the river begins, where you meet, and you'll find it. And the name of the tree is Ungali." So Panther zoomed, running back. And as he was running, he's thinking, "Ungali, that's an easy name. I'll never forget that name. I mean, I'll be back in like 5 minutes." And he got to where the animals were, and he said, "It's in the middle of the jungle." "And what's the name?" said Elephant. And Panther said, Actually, I don't remember." So the animals decided that they would walk and find the tree, and maybe Panther would remember. On they went, and they found the tree, but no luck. Panther didn't remember. And in fact, right where the tree was growing, there was a big hole around it. So they didn't even go close to the tree at all. Well, now Elephant spoke up. She said, "I knew that I should have done this myself. The only one who can get something done is me." And she went off, trotting along till she found Lion sleeping. And when she got to him, she goes, "Lion, wake up." So Lion woke up. He said, "What is it? What is it?" "We need the name of the tree," she said. "Panther didn't remember it." "Oh," said Lion. "But I said I'd only say it once." "Come on," said Elephant. "You know I'm not going to leave you alone till you tell me." So he said, "Okay, but I'm only telling you once. The name of the tree is Ungali." So Elephant started walking back and walking back. And by now it was late morning. And when she got to the tree, she saw the hole, and she was thinking to herself how smart she was and how she remembered everyone's name she'd ever met. And this was not going to be a problem. And she was so busy thinking how smart she was that she fell right down, tumbledy, 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 to the bottom of the hole by the tree. And when she came up, Panther said, "So, what's the name of the tree?" And Elephant said, just a moment, just a moment." She said, "Give me time to think." And Panther said, "You forgot, didn't you?" "Maybe," said Elephant. So now the animals were really in distress. They didn't know what was going to become of them. And finally, the little turtle spoke up and said, "Let me go." And Elephant said, "You?" Elephant said, "You have a brain the size of a pea. You're never going to remember." And Panther said, You're going to take so long. By the time you get back, who knows what will happen to us." Finally, Giraffe spoke up and said, "Give the little turtle a chance. After all, it was her grandmother that told the story." So they agreed. And it was true, the turtle was slow. And she went 1 foot, the other foot, the other foot, the other foot. 1 foot, the other foot, the other foot, the other foot. But she came to where Lion was, and she gently climbed up to Lion's ear, and she whispered in his ear, "Lion, Well, Lion opened his eyes. He shook the turtle right off his head, and he said, "What do you want?" And Turtle said, "I'm sorry, but nobody remembered the name of the tree and we need it." And Lion said, "I'm not telling the name of the tree again. Not my problem." And Turtle spoke up, louder maybe than she'd ever spoken. And she said, "It is your problem. Your friends and your relatives need the name of that tree so we can survive. Tell me the name of the tree." And Turtle said, "No, no, no, no. Lion, sorry, said, "No, no, 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 no. I'm not telling you the name of the tree." And Turtle said, "Yes, tell me." And Lion said, "No, there is no way that I'm telling you the name of the tree is Ungali." "You," said the little turtle, and started walking back, and Lion went back to sleep. So now Turtle was walking back, one foot, the other foot, the other foot, the other foot, one foot, the other foot, the other foot, the other foot, till she finally came to the tree, and she was so busy saying the name over and over to herself, "Ungali, Ungali. The name of the tree is Ungali, Ungali, Ungali. The name of the tree is Ungali," that she fell down the hole, tumbledy, tumbledy, tumbledy. But even when she was falling, you could hear her saying, "The tree." And when she came to the top, she said, "Ungali." And just at that moment, the branches of the tree gently bent down, and all the fruits of all the different colors were close enough to the ground that every animal had enough to eat and drink. And when they had had their fill, the branches went back up to where they belonged. Well, the elephant called Turtle over and bent down on her front legs and said, "Climb up." And Turtle climbed right up on top of her head. And they marched around the tree together for a few more fruits, saying, "Ungali, Ungali. The name of the tree is Ungali, Ungali, Ungali. The name of the tree is Ungali." And from that day on, the animals never went hungry again. And also from that day on, they remembered how important it was that the little turtle had heard a story from his grandmother. And that is my story, be it bitter or sweet. Save some for yourselves and some for me to eat. So now I'm going to take you.
Even though
What
it's
a
not
wonderful
slow,
story.
she shall
What?
prevail.
Definitely. Quite well. So I'm going to take you from the morning when that story happened into the afternoon now. And this story really happened to me, but it's definitely a story of surprise. And just like the little turtle, when she heard her grandmother's story and went to the tree when the tree bent down, I can imagine that even though they wanted it to happen, they were surprised. But this is another of nature's surprises. And it goes like this. A story, let it come, let it go. About 20 years ago now, which seems like yesterday, I was living on the island of St. John in the Caribbean Sea. I was teaching kindergarten there, which was an amazing experience in itself. 5 children in my kindergarten class, all of them delightful. But one of the things I loved about living on St. John was it's surrounded by beaches. So every day after work, you could go to the beach. And you had to take a little open air taxi, like a bus that was completely open, that would make many stops along the way. And one of the stops was called Cinnamon Beach. So on this particular day that I want to tell you about, I grabbed my bathing suit, I grabbed my towel, I grabbed my pocketbook. I went on the bus towards Cinnamon Beach. And when we got there, I was about to go across the road and go down to the beach when out of the corner of my eye, I saw a path into the woods. And I had never been on that path, even though I'd been to Cinnamon Beach many, many times. So I was curious. And instead of crossing the road, I started off on the path. And I was feeling kind of nervous because I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but sometimes if you're going on a new road or a new path and you don't know exactly where it's going to lead you or what you're going to find, it just makes you feel nervous. And I wasn't really worried about any wild animals because most of the animals on St. John are either iguanas or birds, and a few mongoose, which don't really come out very much, and donkeys. So I was not really afraid that there were going to be any dangerous animals. And I wasn't afraid of strangers because most of the people I met on St. John were friendly after a while when they got to know you, but they were generous. They were all generous spirited. It's just this not knowing where I was going. And as I started to walk, I could even deep in this forest road, I could hear the ocean. And the sound of the waves started to calm me. So now that I wasn't nervous, I looked all around. Everywhere was green. So many shades of green. Tall trees with green leaves, low bushes with yellow-green leaves. The ground covered in green and different mosses in green. Everything was green. I kept walking for a while. I don't know how long. And finally, I could see ahead of me a kind of gravelly path. So I knew that we must be coming near to the road. Just as I turned the corner that would take me to the road, but where I couldn't see the road yet, I saw a bush to the side of me, and the bush was covered in dark black leaves. The leaves were as dark as on a moonless night. And I thought to myself, that's strange. Everything was green. Why is this tree covered in black leaves? So I went off the path and walked right next to it. Just as I got right next to it, all the leaves flew off because they were butterflies. They weren't leaves. And they had been hanging upside down. So the bottom part of them was black. And about 10 of them flew right this close to my face and then flew off into the forest to join the other ones. I went for a swim, and when I got home, I opened up my butterfly guidebook and looked for those names, the names of those butterflies. They're called zebra butterflies. The bottom is black and the top is yellow with black stripes, and they had their Latin name and what they eat and where they live. And after just even glancing at it, I closed the book because I realized that no matter what was in that guidebook, there would never be any description that would be the same as when the leaves flew off the tree, joined me around my forehead, and flew back into the forest. And that is my story, be it bitter or sweet. Save some for yourself and some for me to eat.
I love that story, but I have a question.
Yeah.
If butterflies, do moths walk?
You'll have to ask them.
Okay. But I really love that story. And if you don't mind, I'd like to adopt that as a Baba
Yeah.
C story.
Please.
All right. Thank you. Now I'm going to be quiet before John tells me to mute.
And I'll just share one thing. One of my favorite words in Cebuano is their word for butterfly, and it's Ali Bong Bong. And it seems like
Oh,
that should be a butterfly, Ali Bong Bong.
yeah. Say it again, Jim, one more time. Ali.
Ali, A-L-I,
Uh-huh.
Ali Bong Bong.
Oh, definitely. Ali Bong Bong. I might just call him that from now on. So, I want to share one more story with you, and then maybe ask you if there's any time you can remember where something happened in nature that really surprised you. Just a few sentences. So that butterfly story happened in the afternoon. And now, to finish, I want to bring in the night with you. And this story is from Brazil. And it was the version that I read was adapted by a wonderful reteller named Mary Joan Gerson. And this is the way that I remember it. How night came from the sea. Long, long ago, it was daylight all the time. There was never any night. Everything was sparkling all the time. People danced in the daylight. They wore beautiful dresses and clothing that reflected all the colors of the day. It just was never night. No stars, no moon. It so happened that the goddess from deep below the sea, whose name was Iamanja, the goddess from deep below the sea had a daughter. And every now and then, her daughter would swim up to the top of the ocean, to just above the water. And she was very curious, and she would see what she could see. One day, she saw a human, a very beautiful human, who was fishing. And she fell in love, perhaps. She fell in love. So she went back down to her mother and told her mother that she wanted to be able to go up to the land to meet this human and to marry him if he would have her. Now, Iamanja loved her daughter so much. And if you're a parent, that sometimes the hardest thing to do is to let your child go their own way. But she also loved her so much that she wanted her to be happy. So Iamanja arranged it, and her daughter went on to land and met the gentleman, and they fell in love. And it turns out he was a prince. He was the head of his village. Iamanja's daughter had never seen daylight for this long a time as when she was living there. And it was beautiful, but it also was so bright that after a while it hurt her eyes and it was hard to sleep. So she went to her husband and she said, I'm very happy living here with you, but I miss the nighttime. Her husband looked at her and said, nighttime, what's that? She said, nighttime, it's like when the darkness comes down, that is nighttime, you feel like you feel after you've had a very long cry. She said, nighttime is like a dark black velvet blanket that you pull over you. So her husband wanted his wife to be happy. And he said, where can I get this nighttime? And she said, way under the sea where my mother lives, there is darkness there. And everything that comes with that darkness. If there is darkness there, said her husband, you shall have it. And he got 3 of his best swimmers to be messengers, and he gave them a big sack, and he said, now go down to the bottom of the sea, find Iamandra, and ask her to give you this night to make her daughter happy. So the 3 messengers took the sack. They swam down to the bottom of the sea, and they were good swimmers, but to their surprise, they could get down way to the bottom without any trouble. They found a cave that Iamandra was singing in, and when she came out, they told her what her daughter wanted. So Iamandra said, then she shall have it, took the sack into the back of her cave and brought it back with the string tied tight. The 3 messengers swam up till they came just to where the shore meets the sea. And they got up on land. And at this point, when they got up on land, suddenly so many noises started coming from inside the sack. The noises of owls and the noises of animals screeching in the night. And they were frightened. One of them said, let's just put the sack down and run. The other one said, no, we made a promise. And the third one said, I'm not afraid, even though I doubt that was really true. So just very gently, they opened the sack to see what was inside. And at that moment, the second the sack was open, the darkness flew out, and all the animals, the owls and the nighttime animals, the big cats and bats, all of them flew out, and the stars flew out and filled the sky, and even the moon came up and slowly rose in the sky. The 3 messengers didn't know what to do. Now they were scared. But luckily, Iamandra's daughter had been waiting in the village where she lived. She had been under a palm tree. Since the messengers had left, she had been waiting. And as soon as she heard all those noises and saw the stars above, she too began to sing. And as soon as she did that, all the animals came to her and all grew quiet for a few moments. And now all the humans saw the night around them, and for the very first time, they lay down to rest in a different, deeper way. And it was true. It did feel like it feels after a good long cry. And it did feel like a velvet blanket spreading over them. Iamandra's daughter was so grateful for the night that she wanted to give a gift to the humans, not just the night. And so she looked over at a rooster and she said, Rooster, from now on, you are going to crow just as the night is disappearing. And then she looked up at one of the stars and she said, you're going to be the morning star and come out to show that the night is over. And then she looked at some birds and some trees and said, you're going to sing your most beautiful songs to welcome the morning and welcome everyone who's waking up. And so it was. Every night when day was coming, each of those did what they were asked. And so it was true that the humans loved the nighttime and the day. And so it's true in Brazil and many other places that when night comes, it drops down all of a sudden, just like a velvet carpet or a velvet blanket. And the dark comes in a deep but peaceful way. And that is my story, be it bitter or sweet. Save some for yourself and some for me to eat.
Well, they were beautiful stories, Jill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I would love to ask you, and if there aren't any memories you have of something that has surprised you when you've been in nature, um, that's fine too. But I'm just curious if
Well,
you have.
I think the most surprising stuff was in Brunei, which was I think it was just a variety. But there was a plague of crocodiles while I was there, and I thought I went out and I thought I've never seen a crocodile in the wild before. Maybe I'll go because there was things like crocodile nets up on the golf course too, and
Wow.
I thought that'd be exciting. It was only when I got back to where I was staying that people mentioned that crocodiles can run faster than a person. Um, so I was quite glad I never saw any. Uh, but I did. But the things like that sort of blew my mind out were the monitor lizards sitting on the rocks, where I was hoping to see a crocodile, and uh,
Right.
and the hornbills on the telegraph wires, and then in the mango swamps, the proboscis monkeys with their huge noses. So there wasn't many surprises. It was just wonder more than anything else.
Yeah, yeah. That's another kind of surprise, John, to not like a shocking one, but that it brings wonder out. That's
Yes, it
when you
also
don't expect
it was also the display of my European ignorance of
it.
speed of animals traveling.
Thank you. Papa C, do you have one?
Yes, but I think Norman had his hand up first.
Oh,
So
I didn't
Norman, you want
see.
to wait until after me, or can I go? And you're muted, so we can't hear you.
Here I
You
am.
want to you want to go now, or you want to go after me?
After, I want to know what the surprise is.
Okay. So many years ago, when this beard was black and I had hair under here, I was what they call a residential counselor at a camp. And that means we brought city kids down on a Monday. They stayed for about 10 days. We took them back to the city the Saturday after. They had been here for a week. I'm making it confusing. But anyhow, but they were city kids. So I have to tell you two quick tales because they were city kids. And the first tale sets up the second. So we're in the middle. We're in Virginia. Now I've been versed on not picking up the snakes because Virginia has venomous and poisonous snakes. There is a difference. But there are also a lot of safe snakes like you would find in your backyard, unless you live in Virginia. But anyhow, so we're walking down the path back toward our bunkhouses, and a snake goes across the path. City kids are beginning to freak out. But there's one little boy, how can I put this? There's one little blonde boy. He sees it and go, oh, and picks it up. Now, I don't want to encourage the kids to pick it up. He said, oh no, this is like a little garden snake. We have these all over the place where I live. I said, okay, well, now put him down and let him go back home, and the rest of you don't pick up snakes. So they did that. Now, I had to tell you that because remember, they're city kids. So one day we're sitting on the porch of the bunkhouse of my kids, and from out of nowhere comes a swarm of bees. They're city kids. They begin to panic and they're like, "Arr!" And I said, guys, chill, be still, do not move. And I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I did this and said, be gone. And the bees turned around and flew away. And since that day, there have been occasions where friends of mine are freaking out because of the bee flying around their head, and I'll point at the bee and point away, and the bees will actually leave. So it just goes to prove that sometimes it bees that way.
Oh,
John, you knew that was coming.
Wow,
But that's a
that's
true story.
amazing.
That's a true
Yeah.
story.
I've heard of horse whisperers, but bee whisperers.
Not
Hey,
even whispering,
just,
wow, that's amazing. Something happened, right?
yeah.
Because it wasn't even just once. So something
No, it's been
mysterious
several
happened.
times. It's been on and off and on and off during the course of my life. And just a few days ago, there was a bee circling around a friend of mine, and she was freaking out. And I just pointed and did that. Said, "Don't move." Pointed, did that, Had to do it a couple of times, and the bee just went away. And she looked at me like, "But hey, you know." Yeah. So anyhow, I wanted to share that.
Thank you. Wow.
So,
Norman?
okay, the story, the quiet surprise. Properly speaking, it happened at night, and in the middle of winter, and the sun had set, which it likes to do very early in the winter time. And I was living on the campus of Brock University. It was an old stone house, and at that time there was no other buildings. Just we were surrounded by a lake and lawns, and so I stood outside the front door, and it was a lovely evening. The we were having a snowfall, and so there's a gentle snowfall coming down, and you could just see in the kind of the grayness. The city gave enough light that you could see the flakes come out of the shadows and land on the ground. And so I was standing there enjoying that when suddenly, from the direction of the lake, I heard, ah, ah, ah. Not as loud as that. It's just very, very faint. And then it got louder and louder and louder until overhead, out of the falling snow, came a flock of flying crows. And they just went overhead, and I watched them come out of the shadows and over the house and onto the lake and into the shadows again, and slowly the just fell down to silence again. And that was my surprise.
Thanks for taking us there. I felt like I was really there when you were describing it. Jim?
Yeah, I've got one. A very short version of an event, but I had been spending the night in the forest on a mountain, fasting and getting used to the world. And when the morning came, I looked up, and there on a tree next to me was a woodpecker pecking a deep hole, and immediately below it was a hummingbird hovering. And the woodpecker would leave the hole for a moment, and the woodpecker would rise up and sip the sap that the woodpecker had exposed. And when it was done, it would drop back down, and the woodpecker would return and peck some more. And it was a dance that they did. And I didn't know that woodpeckers and hummingbirds had that kind of relationship. I've learned that some of them do. But that was my first experience with that. Was a big surprise.
Oh. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Jill, that's been a great program. Thank you very much. Jim,
Thank you.
I've got a favor. You're probably
Yes.
busy, so but we normally on Christmas Eve do stories. David Heathfield's been hosting a sort of Stories for Peace
Mhm.
program for last few years, but he can't do it this year. Would you?
What time? What times?
Be about this. Be the same time. Be 6 o'clock. UK time. So
Yes,
whatever
right.
time it is.
I'm free until you're 8 o'clock, so I could certainly host
Well, that's fine. 6 o'clock. If you can host session Stories for Peace, that would
Sure.
be. And you seem the ideal person. You've got one of those voices that
Sure.
calm the world.
I'd love to do that. And do you
rather than
have
by the
any?
seas.
Do you have any materials to promote it yet, or?
No, well, no. I'm just setting it up because I was asked to, but so I'll just do the usual stuff.
Okay.
But what's coming up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m., which is something like 7:30 in Washington a.m. in Washington DC. Senem Donaton Mohan hosts a personal story swap. And then next Friday is Rona Baba, 6 o'clock usual time. And then Sunday, December the 21st, is Worldwide Story Round. Then now there's Jim hosting our Stories for Peace. Thank you very much, Jim. And that'll be on Christmas Eve. And then on December the 26th, there's Kwanzaa Stories with I can't remember his name, some geezer who wears a gold and black hat. Baba C. So we've got quite a program coming up in the next few weeks. So thank you very much for that, Jill. It was a brilliant night and most unusual. Well, fantastic.
Thank you for sharing your stories, all of you.
Morning, afternoon, and night, and around. So,
it's a nice free.
Nice idea.
Jim and Jill, would you refresh my memory and tell me where you are?
So I am in Syracuse, New York, or outside Syracuse, which is in upstate New York.
Right.
And to use a common metric, I'm about 4.5 hours northwest of New York City. So that kind of lets people locate me.
And I'm in, it's called Saugerties near New York, near the infamous Woodstock, New York, where the festival didn't happen, but was supposed to, the folk music festival. But Saugerties, New York, and that's about 3 hours from New York City.
Did you guys know that somewhere between 60 and 80% of the state of New York's entire population is centered around New York City and the outlying area?
I'm not surprised.
Yep. Most of the New York is forest and underpopulated, and I just found that fascinating, But thank you.
I live about a 3-minute walk from old growth forest, which is why I use this picture behind me.
Okay.
And the other thing about Woodstock is that is where we had a great storytelling festival that Jill was one of the participants in, and we're hoping to make it an annual affair, a 3-day storytelling.
During the time they were doing Woodstock, there was also a very, very active and well-attended what do you call it? A festival of black musicians, and the name of it escapes me right now, but I will find it out and share it with you guys another time. I mean, it was huge, but because of the times back then, the networks would not carry or talk about it. But it was huge. Some say it rivaled
heard
Woodstock.
about this.
Yeah.
I think there was a film about it. Was there?
There
not?
was. There is.
It's a really good film. Really good film.
One last thing I'll throw in there is John, Maria Gillen and I are trying to arrange a Marrakesh visit in April. So hopefully we'll be able to.
We'll keep in touch on that.
Please tell Maria that Baba C says hello. I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to talk over you.
She was part of the Woodstock Festival also.
She came to Woodstock too,
Yeah. So we're waiting for the rest of you to come now.
Of course. Just
right.
What I need is
I think I've got another 2 years before I go to the States, but I won't say why. It's the children's program. Or maybe 3 years. I'm not sure. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I hope to see some of you. Well, I won't be because I'll have on my red suit tomorrow. But I hope some of you get to the personal story swap. Okay.
Thank
bye-bye.
you, everyone.
Thank you, Wally,
Thank you
as
for
always,
having me,
Flying
John.
Magic Carpet. Great to see you, Norman.
Thank you for
Jill,
the stories.
Listening to you reminded me of the old saying that says, when a griot dies, an entire library burns to the ground. I felt like I was in your library today, so thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Baba.
Right.
Thank you, all of you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Everybody take care. Norman, we'll talk later.
Yep. See you in a bit.
Oh, and thank you, Waleed, for flying the magic carpet. I can't seem to get that right. All right, Norm, talk to you later or in a few minutes, either or.